I think a Donald Trump presidency is going to catch the housing market on fire, but not in the way that you might be thinking. Mass deportation, deregulation, and tax cuts. Three big pillars of the Donald Trump White House, and what do they all have in common? They all have the potential to send housing prices through the roof. Let's talk about it. The first thing is those mass deportations, right? So we know that the Donald Trump White House wants to get rid of as many undocumented people in the country as possible. We get it. I don't know how you feel about it. No need for you to know how I feel about it. But here's the thing. I think you and I both know that the construction sites in our neighborhoods where new homes are getting built, a lot of the fellas on that site are likely not signed, sealed, and certified by the United States government, okay? And I've actually seen, under the last Donald Trump presidency, ICE officers at a construction site shaking down people on that site, asking for papers, and taking people into custody who were undocumented. Like, we've actually seen this. So if you start to remove some of the workforce from those construction sites, what that could lead to is slower construction and higher price of construction, okay? So new construction prices could go up based off of this. Now, since 2020, we've seen new construction prices go up by about 20%, which is wild. But what we don't want to see is another 10%, 20% hike, right? Because that is going to make it unattainable for a whole lot of people. So it's something to keep your eye on. But there are some other things at play here. And so the other big thing that I want you to be on the lookout for and prepare yourself for is the deregulation. Okay, we already know a Trump office is going to be big on deregulation. They were the last time. And there's a ton of regulated industries. Real estate is just one, and it's just one of the places where the deregulation could really have a large effect. And it's in two different areas that I'm thinking about. So in the previous term, you saw deregulation when it came to the mortgage industry, and they made it a little bit easier for smaller banks to lend. All right, so we already know if it's easier for banks to lend, they're going to lend more. More people have more access to credit. That means more people are going to be buying houses. And what's that do to the price of houses? That's right, they're going to go up, right? All right, so that deregulation could cause housing prices to shoot up even faster because more people have access to capital. And the other point around deregulation that could actually help the housing market is if they make it easier to build more homes in more areas. And I know with the last term, there was like a whole opportunity zone thing where you could get tax benefits for building or investing in certain areas. You could see more of that. And that's where we get back to he who has the gold makes the rules. So if you've been sitting on some cash, you've been sitting on some capital, waiting to strike, now might actually be a really, really good time, or in the coming months, because there could be some benefits for investing in opportunity zones. But all of this tends to raise the cost of housing, right? Because if I come into the hood, I flip the house, I make it worth more, that takes up the value of all of the other houses in the area. And then you got the billion-dollar corporations that send out the letters to everybody and says, I'll buy your house for this much, knowing that they can make an extra 50, 60, 100% profit off of that. So let's be smart. Let's be mindful and know that that's coming. Know that that deregulation equals he who has the gold makes the rules. So it might open it up a little bit, allow more people to have access to capital. That could make housing prices go up. Let's get to the last one. So the last one is the tax cuts. We know Donald Trump is really big on tax cuts. He did it last time, really big cut. And so if you cut taxes and you put more money back into the pockets of kind of your everyday worker, which, you know, it's debatable who benefits most off of those Donald Trump tax cuts. But if he's talking about like not taxing tips and things like that, then, you know, that will affect your everyday blue collar worker. So if your everyday worker has more money in their pocket, they're not going to save it. Saving kind of sucks, like, right? They're not going to save it. They're going to spend it. And they're likely going to buy the house that they've been wanting to buy over the last couple of years that was out of their price range, that they couldn't necessarily afford because everything went up so high and interest rates were so high. But with those tax cuts, there's more cash in your pocket, and we're going to likely see interest rates go down like into the, I think, low sixes, mid fives. To me, the mid fives is like the Goldilocks zone, right? So if we see interest rates get to that place and housing does get a little bit more affordable and more accessible and more people can now buy because they have more cash, well, what's that do? It's going to jack those prices back up. I think if I'm going to be speculating around what will happen with the housing market over the next 4 years, I think over the next 6 months, we might see a dip, but then after that, I think we're going to see
to the moon.
So those are my big 3 things to watch for that are likely going to set the housing market on fire in a way that pretty much makes it more and more unaffordable for your average American, okay? We're going to see those mass deportations, the deregulation, and the tax cuts. It's a two-edged sword for a lot of people, and there's a lot of instances where some will benefit and others will not. And we just have to play with these new rules and find our way. I'm wishing you the best for you and your family, and I hope that you can not only survive, but thrive and prosper under this new regime, and that you find your way into a home that makes you happy and that you can afford. So those people that have a little bit of cash, it may be time to get ready to spend it. And for those that are kind of just getting by, you're probably going to find yourself in that position for a little bit longer, but hold on tight. It's going to be all right. So if you're looking to buy or sell a house anywhere in this whole beautiful United States, reach out. I can help, especially in the great state of Texas, where I'm located. I'm right here in Central Texas. Happy to answer any real estate questions that you may have. Y'all have fun debating and arguing about politics in the comments. I will not be taking part in that, but it is funny for me to see. So have at it, y'all. Those are my few things that you got to watch out for with this next presidency, and I will see you guys on the next one. I think this was actually a pretty good video for you to check out. So go do that, and I'll see you over there. All right? Peace.